All signs are pointing to this. The Boston Celtics are in a very interesting spot in this year's NBA draft, as it is only a couple of weeks away. And a guy to look out for is none other than Junior Adou Thiero from Arkansas, who played at Kentucky as well. So played all 3 years with John Calipari, and he is a very interesting prospect, very athletic, and could fit some of the style that the Boston Celtics are looking for in this year's draft. That being said, everybody, hello and welcome back to another video here on Celtics Digest. I am Patrick Billings. Before we get anything, of course, if you guys are liking the content that we're dropping here on Celtics Digest every single day, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. A lot of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. I mean, come on. If you love the content, you might as well subscribe, and you'll see a lot more of our videos popping up. We do a lot of work over here talking about a lot of Celtics news, a lot of trades that are going on in the works, and some draft picks as we are a couple weeks away, like I said, from the NBA draft. So if you love all things Celtics, this is the place to be. That being said, guys, we have a very interesting prospect here in Adou Thiero. And if there's not much that you know about him, well, this is the perfect video for you because I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. So let's get right into this one. Adou Thiero, he measured in at the NBA Draft Combine at 6'6.25", 218 pounds with a 7-foot wingspan and 8'8.5" standing reach. And also something to touch on here, he grew an inch from his previous measurements at Kentucky 2 years ago. So he's standing at about 6'7.5", 6'7", 6'8", with shoes on. Adou Thiero is a very, very athletic wing. There's a lot of things that he does have to work on, but I do think that he is a very interesting prospect for the Boston Celtics, as he has been seen going as high as the early 20s to even falling into the early second round, which kind of just falls right into the Celtics' hands a little bit here, depending on which type of way they like to go at. And I think that he is a very interesting prospect and could be something that they could work on and turn into a very great player. So let's get into some of his statistics, as he is a 3-year college athlete, but we will highlight his past season here at Arkansas, as he averaged 15.1 points, just under 2 assists per game, about 6 rebounds a game, and didn't shoot too well from the free throw line this year. But if you look at some of his stocks here, averaging about just over 2 stocks per game, and something that definitely stands out if you guys are looking at the box score here, his three-point shooting, not great. If you look at the past seasons, he was not really shooting them at a high volume, only shooting about, I believe it was 12 in his freshman year, and then going up a little bit more from there each season forward. And this past season, not really shooting it well, as we will get kind of into his strength and weaknesses in a little bit. But you can clearly see on the offensive end that there's a lot of things that Adou Thiero needs to work on. But again, his size and length and his athleticism is what's going to carry him in the beginning of his NBA career. And especially with the Boston Celtics, they need some gritty guys on the defensive end, a wing guy, and definitely give him the opportunity to grow as a player. And I think that this could be the perfect spot for him being with the Boston Celtics. So let's get into some of his strengths here. We have a little comparison to Nasir Little. I do like the OG Anunoby comparison a little bit better for him. A lot of people are comparing him to a little bit of an OG Anunoby as well, especially on the defensive end. OG was a little bit better of a shooter, but again, you will grow as time goes on, as he's still young, around 21 years old. So a lot of room to grow, but let's go through some of his strengths. Thiero is a long, athletic combo forward with the defensive versatility and above average mobility, who brings value into transition and an energy piece. And like we said, measuring about 6'6" barefoot at the combine, but he compensates it with the 7-foot wingspan and the 8'8" reach, giving him an impressive length for his position at the wing. And as you can see in some of the defensive stats that we talked about earlier, having the length definitely helps you out on the defensive end. If you're overcommitting, he uses his athleticism, his speed, and his size to kind of make up for some little mistakes that he made. And this is kind of like what I've talked about with a couple of these prospects here that are good defensively and they kind of overcommit on defense. They have the wingspan to make up for that space that they are giving up and just overforcing. So I think that this is just a common theme for a lot of these defensive guards. And like I said, He has that 1.6 steals per game, as that's a standout mark at a combo forward, and it highlights his ability to anticipate plays and generate turnovers. And of course, on his defensive side, as again, this is his biggest strength, that he's able to cover ground well defensively with his lateral quickness, switch across forward spots, and length contests at the rim. And again, use the speed and motor. You can kind of just see the words that they're using here in this incredible article about Adou Thiero, that he is quick, he plays great defense, and he has a high motor, and he can jump out of the gym. I mean, his athleticism is absolutely ridiculous. I believe he had 45 dunks this season, and for someone at that combo forward, a little bit short for a 4, but he can play the small ball or 4, and I mean, he just gets up. That's really his game, as he's able to attack the rim. His ball handling is not so much the best, but he gets a lot of space because he can't shoot the 3 ball so well that he's able to just get the ball off the catch and run past his defender and go in for a dunk. That's practically what he's looking for every single time down the floor, is to get up and be aggressive, which is something that you like to see, because he was getting to the free throw line about 6 attempts per game. Even though he's shooting just under 70% last season from the free throw line, you would like to see that go up just a little bit more. But he's aggressive, and he's going to get himself to the line. So I think if he grows in that aspect, he will be fantastic when it comes to that offensive end. His shooting won't even really be too much of an issue when he gets to the free throw line. And we see here he shows some flashes of some solid passing ability. Again, only 2 assists per game, but Arkansas definitely had their well share of passers as well. And again, he has a great frame at 218. He allows him to absorb some contact, and he competes physically despite being slightly undersized at the 4. And he finished this year shooting 54.5% from the field, thanks to the steady diet of cuts, transition finishes, and opportunistic in rim scoring. And again, him on the cut is going to be great. I think that's a piece that the Boston Celtics would definitely love to have. We know how well they were in the pick and roll, and having guys like Sam Hauser kind of being in the corner and being able to get those backdoor cuts. And I think he can help widen up the offense a little bit more, just using his speed to get past his defender and get a wide open dunk, specifically because he's going to rise up every single time and try and dunk on your head. So let's get into some of these weaknesses here. Offensively, like we keep repeating, it's still raw, especially around the perimeter, but he's limited as a shot creator, lacks advanced ball handling and quick first step, making him inefficient in isolation settings. Not a reliable shooter, as again, he shot only 25.6% from the 3 and 68.6% from the free throw line this year, which of course raises concerns to his mechanics and all these different things. But I think the Boston Celtics could be a team that can help fix that. And I think that if they see the potential in some of his offensive game, especially when it comes to shooting, I think that this is a guy that they could definitely look at to drafting, because if they feel like his defense is where it needs to be and the offense shows the flashes that it needs, that they could pick up on some of that slack and really get him pushing forward and becoming a really good scorer and just being able to hit some open shots, as he wasn't really shooting too many off the dribble threes. He only shot 2 this year, and he did not make any of them. The rest just came from the from the catch and shoot, only making about 12, I believe it was. So he's not really a 3-point shooter, so I'm just going to keep reiterating that. But I think, again, his athleticism and how he wants to go and be aggressive at the rim definitely stands out on the offensive end. And we can kind of move on over here, as he doesn't consistently create advantages or collapse defenses, and he functions best as a finisher rather than an initiator. And some evaluators question his positional fit, viewing as an undersized 4 with limited perimeter skill to play full-time wing. Without a reliable jump shot or offensive versatility, he may struggle to carve out a role beyond energy and defense. And I mean, listen, again, his defense is definitely the biggest key in this one. And I think that today's NBA, you really do need a jump shot. And I don't think that I can't get more obvious than that, especially in today's NBA, that you do need to be able to shoot the 3 and at least have a move or two that you can kind of get to. And I kept talking about his dunking because when it came to layups, his shooting percentage was not the greatest either. I believe he's in the 60 percentile. And he's just a really aggressive dunker. And I think when Jaylen Brown kind of came into the league, he was seen as an athletic guy, kind of got to the rim very aggressive. But the questions came from his jump shot, especially behind the perimeter. And he definitely fixed on a lot of those things, shooting really well from the corner. So I don't think that it's the biggest concern when it goes to looking forward. As of right now, you can see it as a concern, but this would be the reason why he's kind of falling back in the draft stocks as well. And if we look at an article here that it was tweeted by Bobby Kavitsky, and this is just talking about his fit for the Boston Celtics. As we all know here, as it says, the Celtics love the three ball. They'd feel comfortable about what they can do for his shot and his willingness to let it fly. If he checks those boxes, they're looking at a prospect who would give them a big wing, who is one of the best athletes in this draft class. He's relentless approach defensively, and ability to protect the rim and force turnovers and other aspects are an appealing package. So his impact on the boards and what he could potentially provide as a cutter, any team, of course, would appreciate that. And Boston would benefit from the infusion of athleticism, explosivity, and when the Celtics are weighing their favorite options on the board, if he is in that conversation and how they feel about the shot likely determines if his name is on the card in hand. So with that being said, Adou Thiero is definitely a very interesting prospect, and this could be one that the Boston Celtics go after. 21 years old, extremely athletic, very good defensively. There's a lot of things that he does need to grow on, especially when it comes to ball handling skills, as he was a little bit short. I believe it was his freshman year, 5'8", now with shoes on, standing close to about 6'7", 6'8", and I think that he could really turn into an incredible player if he does be able to gain a little bit of a jump shot and even just shoot about 34-35% from the three-point line and hit those open shots that you know that the Celtics are going to help him create with that wide open spacing offense. So guys, if you like this video, please go ahead and drop a like on the video and comment what you guys think about Adou Thiero. And if there's any other prospects that you want to see us cover here on Celtics Digest, we've been more than willing to look at the comments and kind of go after your guys' requests, as we got a couple weeks away, guys. There's a lot of things coming down to the wire, and it's going to be a lot of fun. With that being said, guys, thank you again for watching the video, and let's go Boston Celtics. See you guys in the next one.